All right, so today I'm talking with Kevin Baker. This is part of our series that I'm calling Understanding the Skilled Trades, and I'm trying to line up real people with real careers in skilled trades, and Kevin has been kind enough to spend a few minutes with me today. So welcome, Kevin. Thanks for joining me on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. Well, let's get started. Give the audience your bio out there. Like, tell us, your biography a little bit, and up until now when you're working as a technician.
Well, I drove trucks for a lot of years, trained truck drivers, delivered gasoline, diesel fuel, jet fuel, stuff like that. And the company I was working for decided to move, and I didn't want to move with them, so I had to pick something else to do. So I started doing maintenance at Pilgrim's Pride in Waco, and I did that for a little while and just found out I didn't have the personality to get out on the floor with people. So I went into the refrigeration department, and when I started there, they put me on nights, and I started with a guy that had been there a whole month. Neither one of us knew what we were doing. We had absolutely no training or anything. It was, oh my God, well, let's turn this off and see what happens.
Oh man. Okay.
And we did that for a few months, and they decided, hey, we're gonna put somebody that knows something with y'all for a little bit to give you some training. So that we spent 2 or 3 weeks with a guy that knew a lot and got us started, headed in the right direction. And then probably a year later, I went to Operator 1 class. We had the guys from GCAP come down and do one at Pilgrims, and we went to that Operator 1 class with them. Learned a lot of things that we were doing wrong, and a lot of things that we shouldn't have been doing. So we got pretty lucky that nobody got hurt. And I stayed with Pilgrims probably 7 years, and then moved over to Sanderson Farms. We started a plant in Palestine. I was there when that plant opened, and I was they called them an M1, so it's basically the lead tech over with Sanderson Farms. We had like a 79,000 pound system, almost 80,000 pound system, and we had blast cells and water chillers, and it was a chicken kill plant, is what it was.
Okay.
So we got the chickens in, killed them, chilled them, cut them up, put them in a box, and sent them out the door.
Okay.
But I stayed with Sanderson's, I believe, 4 years, a little over 4 years, and moved up to Tyler and went to work for Brookshire's in their grocery warehouse. And coming from a high-speed chicken plant to a grocery warehouse is kind of like retiring.
Right. Right.
There's no rush to get something done. There's nobody sitting there, so you got time to sit down and learn the system, learn from the other guys that are there. You pick up things. When the contractors come in, you have time. You can go with the contractors and see what they're doing. And I stayed with Brookshire's a couple of years, and then got the job at Americold as the lead tech at Americold, and I've been with them for, I think I'm going on my 3rd year with them, and just happy.
That's awesome.
It's a cold storage place, so we're not, there's not a lot of high speed pressure to get everything done and get it, it's pretty laid back. We work with some pretty good people. Our management's really great. They're at our warehouse. They're good. And if you need something, they'll try to get it for you. Or the training, as far as training and stuff, they're not bashful about sending you to training, or anything else. And it's really a pretty good job. Pay's not bad. I mean, of course, it can be better any place you go, but as far as the actual physical work I do now, based on the pay, I'm screwing them. They're paying me a lot more than what I'm worth.
That's great. So just to point out something to the audience out there, Kevin, it sounds like, works in the facilities side of refrigeration. So you basically report to the same facilities, these different jobs you've had, but you've always been on the facility side.
Right.
as compared to working for a contractor where you run service calls anywhere, right?
Right.
Okay.
We have a lot of service guys come in because they deal with a plethora of problems.
Right.
They go into different plants and everybody has something different. They have different machines than what we have. So, I mean, they're the guys that have been there a while are real skilled and knowledgeable. You know, a problem that you may have had that you've never seen before, they've seen it 5 or 6 times already.
Right.
So a lot of guys, I built a lot of back and forth with these guys, a lot of relationship with them. So if I have a problem, I can call them and they can give me a starting point.
Right.
And if I can't figure it out or finish it, then I have to call them in. But a lot of things just you know, warranty and things like that, like rebuilding a compressor, things like that, you have to have the warranty. So you have to have contractors come in and send it off to, you know, safety things too. Like we can't weld our ammonia pipe, so we have to have somebody come in and do it. But really the ammonia, I got into ammonia refrigeration because not everybody was doing it.
Right.
Well, it seemed like just a select bunch of crazy people going up with messing with something that, you know, could cause you a lot of harm if you do it wrong.
Right.
But it's been a really good field to be in as far as learning things, and the people the experience I've had, the people around you are always willing to help you. You know, a lot of jobs, the guys there, he says, well, if I know it and you don't, then I've got job security.
Right.
But I've always had the attitude, if you know it and I know it, that's less I have to do.
That's good.
So you go ahead and do it.
So let me ask you this: whenever you've needed let's say you're ready to make a change in your career, Kevin, have you ever had any challenges once you got some experience of finding a new job if you did want to change?
Honestly, I probably get 3 or 4 calls a week from people wanting me to go to work for them.
Right.
I mean, there has never been a lack of refrigeration jobs.
Right.
On my end, because I mean, I could put my resume out tomorrow and say, hey, I'm looking for a job and go to work within a week. Right.
Yeah, we're hearing that all across the states. It's just crazy right now. So we have a fascinating success story you can tell me, like maybe a problem that you solved that was really exciting for you, like a job success you want to share with maybe some of the technicians that are working in the field that, you know, they might find interesting, like a shop talk type story.
Really not anything that I've done by myself.
Okay.
But I have a refrigeration tech that works under me now. Because I'm over refrigeration facilities and our MHE, which is our forklifts and all that. And it's like most refrigeration guys, and I'm not talking, you know, the service guys, but most guys at a plant, that's their baby.
Right.
Well,
right.
If it's my baby, I don't want you to come in and tell me my baby's ugly, and I don't want you messing with my baby.
Right.
And a lot of times when you come into a place, it's an uphill battle with the guy that's already been there because no, you can't do that, you can't do this.
Hey guys, quick announcement. If you have not stopped into our website at skilledtraderescue.com, please do that. On the home page here, you will see that we have the Join the Movement email list. If you haven't signed up, please consider doing that. We have some amazing guests lined up for the podcast. I'm going to be getting the stories out of successful technicians and business owners in skilled trades. These are not just HVAC people. These are going to be from across the skilled trade spectrum. And my hope is that I'm going to be able to draw out of these people the things that have worked in their careers amazingly well, and the things that if they had a chance to talk to their younger self, what they would tell them not to do. So I want to share all that stuff with you. And if you sign up, you're going to be the first to know when we drop those new podcast episodes. Also, coming soon, we have the BEST workshop. It's a 5-day automated email workshop. However, you're going to give content to us through that workshop. You're going to get one-on-one feedback from our instructors, and we're looking to better your career. I've been teaching the BEST process for many, many years, about 2 decades, one-on-one, and I'm going to be trying to do that to the masses through this workshop. It's totally free. All you got to do is sign up, and as soon as you do that, you'll get alerts on your email as soon as these new podcasts come in, as well as the BEST workshop. So if you check it out, I will put a link to the website on the show notes for this episode today. So check it out.
Well, let's try it and see if it works. If it don't work, then that's on me. We'll turn it back.
Yeah.
So we were having a lot of issues with our dock temperatures because they're not production. They're called something else. Our LTOs and operations, what they call them.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to use our docks as a cooler instead of using our cooler as a cooler.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm back and forth with my tech every other day saying, hey, we need to get these dock temperatures down. Oh, we can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. We can't do it. Well, yeah, we can do it because all we got to do is turn our suction down and we can do it. So we did, and it worked. So, pat myself on the back. Yeah, I won that one. And it's you run into things, and you got a guy there, and I've done it too. When I've been in a place a long time, I'm the same way. It's mine, leave it alone. But you run into people like that. We're not open-minded enough because we're full of ourselves a lot of times. Even a maintenance guy that's been there for a long time, they get full of themselves. The place can't run without me.
Right.
Which, sad that's not true, but now it's just little things like we're having problems with our oil temperatures on our compressors, and he came from an HVAC background, so he thinks that's economizers. Well, no, that's not your economizer. So that was a week-long battle, and finally, since I'm more or less the boss, I won that fight. So yeah, we're not doing that. We're going to adjust the pressure on our pumps and get the oil temperature down. So
yeah,
but it's a strange group of guys you run into, because you can meet. I've met several people that have forgotten more than what I'll ever know.
Yeah.
They've got to a point in their careers where, okay, I've got to pass this on to somebody else.
Mm.
So they're real quick to, take you by the hand and lead you around and show you things. Because I've said Daryl Cass is really my go-to guy.
Mm-hmm.
When I have a problem, I call Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll walk me through things. Cause Daryl's probably, I don't know, he's probably 5-6 years older than I am, but he's getting ready. He's on the downhill. Hey, I'm going to retire, quit doing this mess.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us older guys really need to kind of not necessarily change our attitude, but realize, hey, we're on our way out. So we need to bring these other guys up and give them the opportunities and take them by the hand and walk them around and show them things.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you, so you have technicians that work for you, or you supervise them, right?
Right.
What are the top 4 or 5 things that you look for? So let's say we got a guy out there who's, a couple years in the trade, and, he really wants to stand out, and he's not sure how to do it. He's not sure the habits he needs to develop to move up. What are the key things that these new guys that are now in the trades that you specifically look for as somebody you want to promote and give them more opportunities?
My main thing now, which hasn't always been this, is my main thing is safety.
Good one.
You have to be safe, because every ammonia class you take, they'll tell you, hey, this stuff is bad. It'll kill you. It can. And if we have a release, then we've shut everything down. Plus, we've probably shut down a neighborhood or something else. So safety is really my biggest concern. If a guy will work safe, takes his time, doesn't get in a big hurry, and is willing to learn things.
Okay.
If you have a willingness to learn, actually get in there and try things.
Mm-hmm.
You can turn, an expansion valve or something, open it a little, close it a little, see how it reacts.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't do what you want, put it back where it was.
Right.
But you have to be willing to try to do things. You can't walk up to someone and say, I can't fix it, and throw your hands up. But really, if a good attitude, you can get along with other people in the department.
Mm-hmm.
If a guy comes in and wants to go to work for us, and I do his interview, and he gives that feeling that, okay, he thinks he knows everything.
Right.
Then I have to spend the next 6 months showing him, hey, you really don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, we have certain ways we do things, and this is the way you have to do them. You may not have done them this way at the previous place you worked, but you have to be flexible enough to realize, hey, we do this and do this and do this.
Right.
And like I said before, I don't know everything. Maybe you know something I don't. So if I'm having a problem, when we have a problem in our plant, I go to my tech and we try to talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
What we're at. We start from, because when you're working on anything, you've got it in your mind what's already wrong with it.
Right.
And then you try to go prove, yeah, that's what's wrong with it. And you get so focused on that, you can't see anything else. So we sit and talk, okay, we need X, Y, and Z to do this, and we're not getting one of them, so let's figure out why we're not. Let's figure out what's wrong. It could be something as simple as a solenoid valve went out.
Yeah.
But let's start from, instead of jumping in the middle of it, let's start it at the simple stuff and just go all the way through it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can, well, we hired a guy, or they didn't hire him. He came in for an interview, and I was talking to him and asking him questions and everything else, and he said, well, the biggest problem they're going to have at the plant he left was replacing him.
Mm.
I said, well, I don't need you here.
Yeah, that's probably not something you want to say in an interview, right?
And I've always had the attitude of, there are certain things you have to do and certain things we don't like doing. But if you ever get to the point where you think you're too good to take out the trash, I don't need you.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing it, then I have to do it, and I'm supposed to be your boss, and now I'm taking the trash out because you think you're too good to do it.
Yeah.
Cleanliness. If a guy will clean up after himself when he's done working, that's a big thing for me, because I hate walking around and seeing a mess of stuff that was left when somebody was working on something.
Yeah, I used to tell my technicians back when I was running a commercial HVAC company, I tried to drill into those guys that you could be a technical genius. You could be the best technician. You know a lot, and you can go out there and fix that job, fix that machine, whatever's wrong with it, and get them cooling, get it going again. But hey guys, I have an exciting announcement. We just recently made some updates to our 3 most popular online courses at processchilleracademy.com. If you're a technician that's looking to improve your skills a little bit, maybe get some specialized training to give more value to your customers and your employer, or if you are an employer, a contractor that is looking to augment your existing in-house training with online training that can be accessible from any device, this is a really great opportunity. Just go to processchilleracademy.com, just scroll down on the homepage and you will see the course area. If you go into the course page, you will see that we are currently, for a limited time, we have a promo code of ChillerPro that will save you 25% on any one of these courses. So I hope you check it out, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in class. If you happen to, on your way back down off the roof, you step in a dollop of black fiber roof mastic and track it through the building, whatever magic you did just went away.
Oh yeah, that's what they're going to remember. You're the guy that tracked that crap through my building.
That's right.
But we have our well, I lost my train of thought. I'm old and it leaves me sometimes.
You're preaching to the choir, man.
My biggest thing is I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. I've got 4 guys, and it's 4 different personalities, and this guy doesn't like this one, or he doesn't like the way he does this, and he doesn't like the way he does that. And you're going, my gosh, guys, we're not children.
Right.
We have to have the attitude that, okay, we have customers because we're cold storage, so we have customers. Everyone in this building is our customer. And we want to come back tomorrow to work. So, you have to clean up after yourself. You have to treat people, respectfully.
Right.
And, even though they ask you some of the most silliest questions you could ever hear in your life and want you to do things that are impossible, you still have to, hey, okay, I'll see what I can do. And at the end of the day, we all have to get along. We don't have to like each other.
Right.
We don't have to hang out after work, but while we're at work, we have to get along.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes that's hard.
So how do we, this is something that I've been really struggling with, Kevin. So, it seems like skilled trades, the mindset of, the public is, I guess they don't really understand the value. Like you said, you work in a chicken plant, right? At one time, and they don't make the connection between refrigeration, skilled trades, what you do, and stuff that we all need, right? So, if the refrigeration system goes down, that plant doesn't ship any chicken, which means the price of chicken goes up because there's not enough supply to meet the demand. And the other analogy I like to do is, computers. Computers, the design of the chipsets for computers, or an MRI. MRIs all use, refrigeration to keep them cool, and nobody makes the connection. How do we get the word out that skilled trades are essential to our daily lives? I mean, I don't think people know that.
Well, I think where we made our mistake, we drill in our kids' heads, you have to go to college. You have to go to college. You have to have an education. How many college graduates are working at 7-Eleven because they can't find a job in the field that they went in?
Right.
You take a guy that could work with his hands, either if he's a mechanic, a plumber, electrician, or do what we do, maintenance or whatever, he'll always have a job.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll have a job in the field that he's trained for.
Right.
I mean, how many kids went into IT, and how many of them are working in there now?
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding.
I've got a mechanical engineer degree. My sister-in-law works for a company, and she turns away mechanical engineers every day. We have, there's too many of them.
Yeah.
You got a 4-year degree, but you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
You work with your hands, even if you're not highly skilled, but skilled enough to work, in a field, you can gain that skill over time. Mm-hmm. And your pay, if you seen what a plumber makes, and I ever had to call a plumber to your house and pay him, that's a skilled trade, and that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, just out of curiosity, so let's say, do you guys hire apprentices, or do you only pretty much hire people with a little bit of experience?
It really depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
And because the way I learned was on the job. Right. And if a guy has a basic knowledge, then he'll get a lot on the job. We've hired guys off the floor, one of our truck loaders. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I want to go in maintenance. All right, well, we'll give you the chance at it, see what you know. Mm-hmm. Well, I worked on my car. I worked on my dad's car, and well, you know the difference between a screwdriver and a socket. Right. Well, let's see if you can pick up things. So we'll give them 3 or 4 months to see if they can pick up something. Mm-hmm. But as if a guy walks in, got a good attitude and everything else, and is willing to learn, mm-hmm. I don't have a problem hiring somebody with no experience.
Okay. And what do you start guys out at that have no experience but have the right attitude?
Probably around 20 an hour.
Okay. And then let's say once they turn out, are you guys union?
No.
Okay. So we
have a couple of union warehouses, but not us. We're not.
Yeah. So what's a good wage for in your line of work for an experienced journeyman, can pretty much do whatever he's asked to do. What do they make? What's a good wage in your opinion?
I've seen the companies around here hiring anywhere from 29 to 35 an hour
Okay.
for guys
Okay.
with experience.
And how
Now,
about that?
service techs,
Go ahead. Sorry.
a service tech will make more than that, but I'm too lazy to be a service tech because I don't want to have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go fix somebody's stuff for them.
Right.
At that time of the morning, I have a real bad attitude. But a service tech
Yeah.
can make a lot of money, and their service techs actually, a lot of them come from working in plants or warehouses,
Right.
and they get hired on because the contractor, the service tech they called comes out and say, hey, this guy's got a little snap to him, and he, pretty knowledgeable. Let's put him let's put him in service.
Hmm.
But I like being at home
Right.
and petting my dog, so service is not a line of work that I want to get into. But a service tech, a good one, can make a pretty good chunk of change. And I have
Yeah.
ones that I've worked with that I call them directly. I don't call their company. I call them and they set up the appointment
Yeah.
through their company to come out because I want this specific guy here.
Hmm. Yeah. And a lot of
But
those
I mean,
guys, yeah, a lot of those guys that are working for service contractors, they're they're making, a lot of them will pay based on performance. So like if they get a certain number of billable hours in a day, part sales, a lot of these contractors nowadays, because they just can't find good guys and keep them,
yeah,
they're getting pretty creative as far as what they're paying these guys. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know if you're getting this out there in Texas, but man, some of these shops out here in the Northwest, they're paying $4,000 or $5,000 signing bonuses just to
oh yeah,
steal them away from their competitors.
yeah.
It's
I've got
nuts.
a friend now that him and a couple other guys just started a service business,
Hmm.
and they've got so much service. They started with 4 guys. By the end of next week, they're going to have 9,
Yeah, it's
and
crazy. Yeah.
and they're doing ammonia and HVAC. But I mean, it's amazing how fast they grew. And the
Hmm.
good thing about a service, being on service with gas being $4 a gallon, they buy your gas and let you drive your truck home.
Right.
And you're
Right.
paid from a lot of them are paid from the time they leave to the time they get back.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So
it's
are pretty much
go
all the
ahead.
shops that you know of, are they all pretty much hiring right now?
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. Everybody's looking. I
Yeah.
don't know if the COVID knocked them out or what the deal is, but everybody is looking for ammonia guys now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
go on Indeed if you have any kind of experience. Go on Indeed or another job site. Put your resume out there. If
Hmm.
you don't get 5 or 6 hits the first 3 or 4 days you're there, then you put something wrong in your resume, or you
Right.
put the wrong number down or something, and they're trying to call you, but they got the wrong number.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing what I started out making and what they're paying now.
Uh-huh.
It's a pretty good jump.
Yeah. 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 What do you think, Kevin? What can we do, as people working in the industry? What can we do to get the word out to the young people, the young men and women? I'm talking people that are maybe the junior, senior in high school. How do we break through the noise about the opportunities in skilled trades, as a real viable career option to go into college? Because there is a community of kids. I can call them kids because I'm old too, but there's young folks out there that just know that college is not their thing, and they may be they may be acting negatively to the school pressuring them and their parents pressuring them, but they just don't want to go to college. Or maybe there's parents that they think their kids need to go to college, but they're just not educated enough about skilled trades. What do we do about that?
Well, they had a thing when I was in high school way back when. They called it VOTEC.
Right.
You could,
Yeah.
you did it in the afternoons, and you went and you could learn welding. You could learn basic electricity. Right. You could learn things there. I don't know if they still have them or not.
A lot of schools don't. They trashed all that stuff back in the 90s.
And well, everybody wanted their kids to go to college.
Right.
And still live in their basements. But you'd have to start visiting schools.
Yeah.
And letting these guys know, hey, you don't have to go to college. You can make as much money and live as good a life not going to college and learning a skilled trade as you will with a 4-year degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you get a little dirty, get a little dirt under your fingernails, and you actually have to work. But you can't. Really, the sky's the limit. If you go and learn a trade, you can have your own business.
Right.
How many people can go to a 4-year college and come out and in 5 years be able to start their own business, or in 10 years be able to start their own business and have the knowledge and everything to do it?
Right. Yeah, that's good. So let me ask you this, Kevin: if there was an opportunity for you to participate in, maybe a informational workshop for parents to talk about skilled trades and your experience at, would you be interested in doing that?
Yeah, I would do that.
Okay.
I would do that.
Yeah, what's interesting is every guy I've asked that question, the generation that's advanced, I don't know where you are in your, in your retirement journey, what you want to do, but every guy I've asked that, everybody realizes there's a problem, because when there's no Martins around and there's no Kevins around anymore, there's going to be a real problem, because if we don't start replacing these guys that are getting out, they're not going to be shipping a lot of chickens. You know what I'm saying?
No. Well, they had the same problem with welders a few years ago. They couldn't get anybody to go to welding school. So the average age of welders was, in their 40s. You go,
yeah.
Wow, where's the guys in their 20s?
Yeah. Well, what are you seeing out there? Like the average age of an HVAC refrigeration tech out there, how old are those guys now, roughly? Just if you take a quick poll.
They're anywhere from 35, 40 years old up to 60.
Yeah, that's a problem. And the other thing that I'm really, I don't know if you've watched any of my stuff, but one of the things that I'm just aggravated about, and I'm starting to sound like a broken wheel about it, but all the media, the news outlets and everybody, the schools, especially colleges and even high schools now, they all quote the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I always feel like I'm picking on them. But you look at their numbers, and the numbers that they say that the skilled trades make, and I don't care if it's a plumber, sheet metal worker, welder, I don't care who it is, it's usually about half of reality, right?
Yeah.
And I don't get it. Actually I do get it. The way they collect their data, I believe, is flawed. That's why I'm doing these interviews. And then I'm also pretty soon, I'm going to be launching a national poll that is going to provide real data. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that compares to what the government's telling us.
Well, you figure a guy can get a job with a plumber, and I think it's 3 or 4 years he becomes a journeyman plumber, and then his next step is a master plumber, and he's making, if he gets out there and works, he can make as much as a doctor does. And he doesn't have $300,000 in school debt to pay back.
Right. Yeah. Does your do you get specialized, like, continuing training, like let's say one of, where you're working right now, they buy a new piece of equipment or whatever, some new technology and stuff, do they pay you to, go to specialized training for that equipment, or how do they deal with that?
They will find, if it's a manufacturer, we'll either go to a school with that manufacturer, or the installer, whoever's going to do it, will go to their shop, or if they have a class for it, we'll go to a class. Like we have several ammonia classes we go to. We'll go to either a RETA class, or we'll go to GCAP. Of course, with ammonia, you have PSM and everything else, all the paperwork and everything that goes with it. But they're really, I don't know about everybody else, but Americold is really good about wanting you, the more you know, the less they have to call somebody in to do.
And they'll pay you for all that time in class.
You're paid for it, just like if you're at work.
Yeah.
They don't want you doing anything off the clock, because if they're not paying you, you can do whatever you want to, show up or not.
Right.
But yeah, they're really good about sending us places to get more education, learn things, learn. Like I keep saying GCAP, because I went to GCAP, so they're really good. And now we're at our facility, we're going to start doing the RETA courses. We're going to do RETA 1, RETA 2, go through all the courses on that. So that'll help everybody with a little better understanding. But nothing, you can go to school, learn everything in the whole world, anything that book teaches you, but nothing is going to educate you more than just hands-on.
Yeah.
Because when a guy writes a book, usually he's an engineer and he lives in a perfect world, and everything he writes in that book, okay, yeah, that's all fine and good, until you get out there and say, hey, it's not working the way it was in the book. Something's wrong. Yeah.
I'm laughing because that's a tale as old as time, my friend.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like the guys that design cars. They will stuff all this engine in there, but you can't work on it.
Yeah. Do they have very many trade schools out there that crank out any HVAC techs?
I believe there's a couple up here. I'm not for sure. I've never got into the HVAC part of it. But
refrigeration.
I think we have a lot of trade schools. The only the actual ammonia refrigeration school that I've ever heard of was in Garden City, Kansas. And they actually had college courses there that you took.
Yeah. That's the interesting thing is there's so many paths to go in America, right? You have, you get somebody in high school that decides their parents are behind them. They decide that they're going to go into a trade school and learn a skilled trade, refrigeration, whatever that is. I don't think there's too many schools for ammonia refrigeration, which is really unfortunate. But anyway, a lot of these schools, they're charging 10 grand, I think, to turn out after a year and a half. And what I'd like to really get my head around is the percentage of these individuals that actually get hired. I think it's very high. Once they go through a trade school, especially if it's in demand, skilled trade, they're going to work right away. I would even argue if they're, let's say it's a 2-year program, they're a year in, I would be willing to argue that employers are willing to hire them while they're still going to school and pluck them up,
Oh yeah. But the bad thing about it is the kids that get out of trade school, okay, I went to school for this. Now I got to make all this money. Well,
right.
You went to school for it. You got the knowledge. You have no experience.
Right.
It goes back to, you know everything in that book, but until you put your hands on something,
right.
But a guy with a year or two of ammonia experience, especially, can just about go any place he wants.
Yeah. You mentioned work ethic, like willing to learn. I want to look at that a little bit deeper. So what other work ethic type things besides the willingness to learn, which you mentioned already, what other work ethic things are you looking for in guys that you want to hire and move up?
I want somebody that's going to be on time and will actually show up for work and not get there. And in the first hour he's there, he's got to drink 3 cups of coffee and get good and woke up. Do that before you get there.
Yeah.
To me, and I've always been like this, 10 minutes early is on time.
Right.
If you show up, if you got to be there at 6 and you're showing up at 5:59, to me, you're already late.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you need to be there and be ready to go. But someone's attitude is a lot. Because by the time I get home, sometimes my wife tells me I have a bad attitude because I have to deal with a lot of people. But there have been days.
You get the truth when you get home, don't you?
Yeah. Everybody else is nice to me when I get home. Yeah, there have been days. There's sometimes she tells me to walk back out the door and turn around and come back in, change that attitude.
Yeah,
You're not at work anymore.
Yeah, but I get it. Well, that's good. That's some good info. Anything else you can think of?
If really, the willingness to learn, being safe, willing to work safe. There are a good God volumes of safety rules.
Right.
You can safety yourself so much that you can't do anything.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you gotta use a little common sense, and common sense is a big thing.
Okay.
Common sense is not common anymore.
Right.
And I've had guys that's worked under me before, said there, well, I need a raise, I need this, I need more money, I need that. I said, well, you can come in on Saturday and work some overtime. Oh no, I don't. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But I thought you wanted to make some more money.
Yeah.
And if you can get along with people, which sometimes I have a hard time doing, but I mean, really, it's a lot of it is your attitude and just a willingness to listen to somebody else, even if they don't know what they're talking about. Still listen to them, because you may pick up something. They may throw something out there, even if you think they're an idiot. You can still listen to them for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's just never think that you're not replaceable.
Yeah.
Everyone can be replaced. This warehouse was running before I got here. It'll be running after I'm gone.
Yeah. What do you think about the other thing I wanted to ask you about before we wrap it up is this is something that I hear about more and more these days, because we talked a little while ago about these young folks, the vocational voc ed. It's not really offered in the public system anymore. The other thing that they've cut out is managing money, just the basics,
Oh.
And one of the things that I hear that turns into be a challenge for skilled trade people is they go out, they pay their dues, they're a maintenance tech for a while, and then assuming they have a good attitude, they got a good work ethic, they're doing their thing, they start making real money, but they've never really had training on how to, what to do about that. So quickly what ends up happening is their spending gets ahead of their earning, and it leads to problems. Are you seeing any of that stuff in these young folks now?
I see that a lot.
Okay.
A lot. A guy making, $25-30 an hour, living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
How is that possible? But that falls back on us as parents.
Yeah.
For not, for spoiling them rotten, not letting them know the value of a dollar, and then when they get out and go, oh man, I got money in my pocket, I go spend it.
Yeah.
My kids aren't like that. Because my kid, no, I don't do that. Don't call me to pay your bills because you needed a new iPhone. Yeah, don't call me for things like that. You have to have some kind of not necessarily financial training, but financial knowledge, I guess, would be.
Right. Yeah.
And realizing that.
Yeah. I call it financial intelligence. It's just subject matter, just like any other thing, and what ends up happening with that is the finances, if those get out of whack, it throws your balance of your life out of whack, and that leads to problems at home. And then even if you did have a good attitude and you're showing up to work on time, if you get out of balance because you're overcommitted on your spending, it can really have a downward spiral on people,
Well, we're running these kids, but kids now are staying home till they're 25, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Living off mom and dad and have no grasp of the real world. But hey, I got a little part-time job. I'm doing great. Yeah, but you don't realize mom and daddy's paying all your bills.
Yeah.
And then when mom and daddy gets tired of it, say, hey, you need to, get you a job and get out on your own. They're completely lost.
Yeah. Well, we have to do a better job teaching them, and then they have to be willing to want to learn it, right?
That's willing to do it is,
yeah.
Because nowadays we owe them everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You owe me because I didn't ask to be born. Well, I didn't ask for a kid like you. I was expecting a better one.
Well, good, Kevin. Well, listen, thanks for your time. Is there any closing wisdom that you'd like to maybe share with the new techs out there, and or people that are maybe at that crossroads thinking that whatever reason, they've held down some part-time jobs, and they heard that skilled trades could be okay. What words of wisdom can you share with the audience out there about that might be thinking about skilled trades?
My best advice is find somebody that's doing what you want to do,
mm-hmm.
and absorb all the information you can from them. If you can go to work for them, great. If you can go to work where they're working, because maybe they'll hire you with no experience and want to train you up, do that. Don't expect to come out and make $40 an hour doing
mm-hmm.
something because John's making it. Yeah, but John's been here 20 years. He knows what he's doing.
Right.
Be realistic with your expectations, but get all the training you can, get all of the education in that field that you could possibly get,
mm-hmm.
and still be, willing to learn from somebody, even if you don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
If they know something you don't know, you need to find out what they know so you'll know it.
Right.
And I've run into a lot of people I don't like, but I told my wife today I'm a big John Wayne fan. I said my favorite John Wayne saying is, life is tough, but it's even tougher when you're stupid. So there's no reason to go through life being stupid.
That's a John Wayne quote?
That's a John Wayne quote.
Oh, darn. I hadn't heard that one before. That's a good one.
Well, it was he got the credit for it, whether it came out of his mouth or not. He got the credit for it. But there is no reason that you can't go out and learn something.
Yeah. That's
the only thing stopping you from doing it is you.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you start out as a plumber helper and find out you don't like to be a plumber's helper, go find an electrician.
Yeah.
Electricians will pay you to pull wire, then you can learn. Now, as far as the age, I've seen a lot of young electricians.
Yeah, I have too.
I've seen a lot of electricians make pretty good lick, but I've seen a lot of young electricians. I have not seen a lot of young guys picking up wrenches.
Right. Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
And that's the. I'm still rambling, but that's the problem because you're not out there on Saturday with Dad, working on the car.
Right.
Or you're not trying going out there and trying to fix the lawnmower. I would just throw that lawnmower away and get another one.
Yeah.
It's work, and I'm bad about it too because I get frustrated with them. But you're not showing your kids something.
Right.
It goes back to when you were young and having to hold the flashlight for your dad.
Right.
That never worked out good. You never could point that flashlight where it needed to be. But go out and try things.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to get dirty.
Yeah, that's good. That's good advice. Well, that's awesome. Well, we've gone 45 minutes, Kevin. Pretty good, huh?
Well, I don't get to give my opinion at home, so somebody I can finally find somebody to listen to my opinion.
So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I very much look forward to continuing to connect with you. Please don't hesitate to send me messages on LinkedIn. I'm on there all the time. Or you can reach out to me on my email. I'm at mking@processchilleracademy.com. And until next week, when I give you the next installment, I wish you a great week, and I will connect up with you again soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.